On July 1, 2026, Florida's House Bill 999 takes effect, officially recognizing gold and silver coin as legal tender within the state. For the retail consumer, this provides a tax-exempt avenue to preserve purchasing power against the steady devaluation of fiat currency. The institutional significance of the law lies in its operational mandates. It requires that governmental and financial entities choosing to accept these metals utilize electronic custody and qualified public depositories. This legislative framework shifts precious metals away from their status as subjective physical commodities, placing them into a parallel economic architecture of verified value under lawful control. Traditional institutions generally refuse to lend against collectibles because public market values are driven by aesthetic whims and extreme price volatility that underwriters cannot model. Consider a physical numismatic asset like this 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar. In an open option, its value depends entirely on subjective demand on a given day. The RSI protocol provides the mathematical solution to this subjectivity, employing a rigid framework to engineer commercial collateral from these physical assets. This engineered collateral serves to bridge the multi-million-dollar proxy escrow requirements necessary to trigger large-scale project funding. We will now map the exact mathematical, legal, and custodial sequence required to execute this transformation from a dormant collectible into institutional capital. Establishing algorithmic stability requires the triad of trust, which divides the power of authentication into three non-overlapping roles. The first pillar is the numismatist. Their role is restricted to establishing object truth, verifying the metal is not counterfeit, and documenting its physical state. This physical examination utilizes a condition grading system established in 1949 by Dr. William Sheldon, which brought scientific rigor to the evaluation of coins. Based on Sheldon's system, the numismatist assigns a definitive numerical grade between 1 and 70, where 70 represents microscopic physical perfection. While the asset's authenticity is now guaranteed, this physical grade remains useless for institutional leverage until it is mathematically quantified. Quantification is the responsibility of the independent assayer, who calculates mathematical truth to establish a baseline for the transaction. The RSI revaluation formula relies on two fixed inputs, a universally recognized base retail value and the certified numismatic grade. The assayer takes the base cost of acquiring and professionally grading the asset and multiplies it by the numerical Sheldon grade. As shown in this Stage 3 illustration, multiplying a $300 base by a grade of 70 generates a revalued market value of exactly $21,000. This RMV is a contractual protocol constant for the deal, not a public auction estimate. Every participant, lenders, underwriters, and trustees, signs agreements with mandatory asymmetrical arbitration clauses. They legally bind themselves to accept this specific formula as the definitive standard of value. By securing strict legal consent to this rigid mathematical baseline, the risk of market volatility is algorithmically eliminated for the lender. The final pillar of the triad is the civil law notary, who is responsible for establishing procedural truth. During Stage 1 intake, the notary performs biometric identity verification and generates a unique matter number. They administer an affidavit, apply a digital seal, and anchor the package onto the Comply Chain Guard ledger using a cryptography, creating a tamper-evident record. The physical collectible has now transitioned into a fully verified, legally anchored financial instrument ready for deployment. To serve as commercial collateral, the digitally sealed asset is physically relocated into an independent, climate-controlled depository. The borrower then authorizes the filing of a UCC-1 financing statement with the Secretary of State. This filing perfects the lender's security interest against the specific RMV in the vault, making the claim enforceable. Institutional lenders then issue a secured fiat credit line at a 60 to 70. The system requires a formal appraisal of the newly acquired real estate to establish its fair market value. If the borrower acquires a property valued at $2.8 million, that equity is pledged back into the original collateral pool, which already contains $4.2 million in vaulted coins. This combined pool now totals $7 million. Applying the 70% loan-to-value ratio to this expanded base generates a secondary credit facility of $4.9 million. This $4.9 million facility is used first to extinguish the original $2.8 million LBO debt. This leaves the borrower with a liquid surplus of $2.1 million for further project development. The LCO phase creates a self-sustaining cycle where acquired assets expand the borrowing base, eventually providing unencumbered liquid capital. This architecture contrasts with the digital fallacy that a visible blockchain balance automatically equates to borrowing power. Underwriters enforce the presumption of non-control on public ledgers because visibility provides no proof of legal ownership or the authority to pledge the asset. Institutional lenders require that value exist under documented, lawful control before capital can be released. Florida's legal tender framework, combined with rigid mathematical valuation and UCC Article 9 perfection, fulfills this institutional mandate. When mathematically engineered and legally perfected, physical assets serve as a stable, high-leverage instrument for institutional credit and commercial growth.